Hello, everyone, and welcome to our first episode of A New South is Rising podcast. My name is Sherelle Bird, and I am your host. And I need you to do three things for me. One, like this episode. Two, share this episode with your friends and family. And three, go ahead and hit that subscribe button on whichever platform you're watching us on, because we want to make sure that you join our fam. We're not on the porch today. Typically, we're going to be on a porch, but today we are in a studio where we're talking about Black issues and things that impact the Black community. What do we want for as a Black people? And these are discussions that I remember people used to have back in the 50s and 60s with Paul Robeson and James Baldwin, all the greats, where they talked about the Black condition. So we want to do that a little bit more in this generation, and it starts with this amazing panel that you see here today. So I want to take the time to welcome each one of them for coming in on their Sunday. You know, today's an important day in the Black community. It's Sunday dinner, it's church time. We're usually cooking our black-eyed peas and collard greens right about now. So grateful y'all stopped to join us for a couple of hours to have this very meaningful conversation. So I'm going to start by introducing everyone. Starting over here to my right, I'm going to start with Adam Inyang, who is the business owner extraordinaire. He's a creative, he's a producer, but I love his perspective. He has such a unique perspective on things that you probably wouldn't expect coming from a Black guy of his age. So welcome, Adam.
Thank you.
Also want to welcome over here Nia Hawkins, also known as Nia Michelle. She's also such a creative. She's a producer, and these two are the producers of the New South is Rising podcast. And so Nia is joining us with another amazing perspective. I've known her forever and a day, and so I'm so excited for what she's going to bring to the show today. Then we're going to come over here to, you're going to see him actually on a future podcast, but this is who I call the Southern gentleman himself, Clinton Banks Vicks. He has an amazing Black agritourism business called the Vicks Farms Estates and Vicks Estates Farms and Fisheries. Let me get that right. And so if you've not experienced that, it is an amazing experience. And so I'm so glad that he's also bringing his creativity, he's a classically trained singer, he's a historian, he's so many things that he's going to bring to today's panel. And then I'm going to come over here to one of my, just met, but she's a part of our Young Activist Club. Her name is, you have to tell me your last name, I just forgot, Mackenzie.
Jayla Carmichael.
Editing.
Jayla Carmichael is joining us. She's a part of our Young Activist Club, and she is so outspoken, so knowledgeable, and she's representing our high school generation and their voices about the Black condition. So excited to welcome Jayla Carmichael. And then I'm going to welcome to my right here, Dr. Alana Simmons. You got to put some respect on her name, because that doctor is important, because she's an educator. She works with an amazing program here in our community for young high school students, but also she serves as our board member of SOWEGA Rising, so I got to give her a shout out for that. And I really do believe, had Alana been born in the 60s and the 50s, she'd have been the one snatching the whites only signs off of buildings because she invades spaces where we don't think Black people should be, but she makes sure they know that we belong in those spaces too. So proud to have her voice. And then last but certainly not least, Tiffany Terrell. Welcome to our panel. Tiffany is a serial entrepreneur. She's such a business brain. She's brought a mobile grocery store to Black communities and to lower income communities that are food insecure. It's called A Better Way Grocers. She and her husband also have Heroes for Success, which is an amazing program for youth in lower income communities. And she's just an amazing community person when it comes to like food insecurity and business and all sorts of things. So welcome, Tiffany, to the A New South is Rising panel. Next, I want to introduce two gentlemen who make up the original and the remix, and that's Tommy Terrell Sr. and Tommy Terrell Jr., who are a part of the Terrell dynasty, I want to say, who all, are doing just amazing things in the community, amazing businesses, amazing impact, and so we're so grateful to have these gentlemen on the show as well. And so as you see, we have this beautiful panel of all shades of Blackness. And so I want to give some instructions for today. First and foremost, I got to introduce the No Shade Lemonade. This is a Black-owned lemonade brand here in Albany, Georgia. You can pick this up at Mike's Country Store. Go out and support all the beautiful flavors that she has. They're so delicious, y'all. But what we're going to do today is I'm going to give a statement about just anything regarding the Black experience. If our panelists agree with the statement, they're going to take a sip of their No Shade Lemonade. If they disagree, they're not going to take a sip, they're just going to sit. And then the ones that agree, we're going to hear from them first, and the ones that disagree, we're going to hear from them next. This is not a debate, this is a discussion about how we feel and what our different perspectives about the Black experience. Y'all already know we love to debate, but we're not going to do that today. All right? Are y'all ready for this discussion?
Yes.
All right, so the first statement is, slavery affected my family.
You know, we agree. You don't agree? Good. Don't drink that, Tommy. Good. Stand out, Tommy. I like it.
So I think we have the majority that agree. So who wants to start?
I can start.
Uh-huh.
So I will disclose that I just turned 43 years old,
Happy birthday.
and I am the great-granddaughter of enslaved people. So my great-grandfather was born enslaved in McDuffie County, Georgia in 1855. So you think about families today, folks are raised, along with their grandparents and great-grandparents. There's no way that could have happened for me. So it's closer than you imagine.
Interesting.
Slavery impacted my family because my great-grandfather, Washington Banks, was enslaved. He was born in Lee County, Georgia. I know my family back 5 generations, but the way slavery impacted my family was education was always something very important because the white man that taught him how to read was killed in Lee County, Georgia because of teaching him how to read.
Wow.
And so that for that purpose, it's always been paramount to be educated in my family.
That's what's up.
I took a sip to the slavery impacting my family simply because my name is Nia Hawkins. I don't know my true last name, and I probably will never know that. So just because I know that I have the name of a slave owner,
Right.
that alone impacts me. And my family, I don't know my greats. I don't.
Right.
So, I have to know that. I have to live with that. And as best I can start tracing back and digging back so that my children can have more information than I had. But I have to admit that my information is limited when it comes to my family bloodline. So yeah.
Shoot, I think slavery impacted my family. First off, I got a unique family. Half of my family technically kind of wasn't impacted because I'm Nigerian on that side. Then my mom's side, they from Philadelphia, but by way of South Georgia. And I think though the way it impacted my folks is through their mentality and how unfortunately I was taught to navigate this world based on the fear that was beat into my parents and their grandparents and so forth because of slavery. And so I was taught to walk a certain way, talk a certain way. I can't do this in these circles. I got to dress a certain way, all of that. And that impacted a lot in my family. So, but I've been able to unlearn a lot of that. And I rebel against a lot of those ideas and things. Just with the way I look, with the way I dress and everything. I like to infiltrate the circles and shoot and wear a do-rag to the city commission meeting, And so I think that's how it has impacted my family, just in the way we think and approach life. But yeah.
Well, I said also because I kind of just piggyback on what both of them said, because it kind of hit both of the angles I want to come from. Just not knowing, and that's a story that you never know the beginning of.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So definitely that part, the amount of resources that should have been available, outside of just material stuff, as far as just like I said, just the history, the culture, the powers that we have,
Right.
And with him, as far as my mother's side, they're from Jefferson County, Louisville, Georgia. It's a slave market. in Louisville, Georgia. So, like going on the weekend, it's like you said, you think you had to move. You had to move different because that generation still was on some yes sir, no sir stuff. You know what I'm saying? And you really couldn't be. Our age group really couldn't. If you was an independent thinker, for sure, you was almost shunned, or you know what I'm saying. And you was a label that you shouldn't have been.
Right.
Because but it's another story. But and also just the way problem solving. Just simply that. In a town like that, my family, they kind of, one side of the family, just not know how to communicate effectively to work as a family.
Right.
Yeah. To piggyback off of what everybody said, it's the not knowing of where you come from or who you come from, and the knowledge that you know from looking from yourself. So the research that you do in history books or online, and you get all of these slave stories and these narratives from different people that aren't your family, and to know that my mom's side of the family is from Roanoke Rapids, North Carolina, and my dad's side of the family is from here. It's a lot of digging that you have to do, but it's a lot of digging that you can't find because of the lack of resources. And so, like you said, the customs and the traditions, what you grow up knowing what not to do and how to present yourself, and even down to the terminologies of like simple things inside the house, beating you like a runaway slave. It's just like, it's stuff like that. And it's just like, it's constant. It's every day. And it's stuff that you hear and stuff that you see in your peers or in school, out of school. And so, yeah.
So we had two, I think, that disagreed. So let's hear your perspective. Why did you disagree?
I didn't disagree. I think everything is rooted in slavery and racism. And I'm going to take ownership that I haven't done my due diligence to go back and find how our families, just to trace them. And that's something that I have to do, and I think that we should all do as far as we can. So that's why I didn't sit.
It's not the fact that I felt like I wasn't impacted. It's just like I haven't went back to see what has happened or not even took the chance out. And I just felt like that me having to have my hair cut a certain way or dress a certain way is just like normal at this point. That's how I felt like I wasn't impacted.
Nice. All right.
So you done acclimated to it now.
It's just life for you.
Understood.
All right. You ready for the next question?
Yes.
Racism is the main cause of poverty among Black people in America.
Say it one more time.
I'm gonna sip on every word.
Racism is the main source of poverty for Black people in America.
Big sip,
We gotta take small sips, so we're gonna be out of here.
Don't go up on that one.
Look, you know what I'm saying?
All right, who wants to start?
I'm sorry. So, coming from the financial industry, even in 2000, I think like 2020, you still had people who came in who thought that they didn't qualify for bank accounts. When it goes to homeownership, it's displayed through, it was displayed, and which is still, you can see here in Albany, redlining. Also, just the knowledge of financial literacy and how we conduct business. It was a big thing when people say they said, and I'm like, well, who said? So there's a long line of racism and that is involved in financial literacy. I mean, even when the government did certain things of homeowner programs and just so many different things that we can just go down. I mean, it's deeply rooted. Yeah, deeply rooted.
To piggyback off of what she said, I haven't been alive that long, but I love to read. And the more that I read books by like Black authors that go back into these times where you see where the government has put systems in place, not just in the justice system, but financial systems as well, you do see that the financial literacy isn't well. I mean, looking at communities now, like looking at our community now, it's just like you see irresponsible money choices, and you see irresponsible choices within your community, and I that's what I would say.